If you work in a non-for-profit that receives federal funding, I have got some news that is going to sound like good news at first and then get a little bit uncomfortable. The federal government is about to require less reporting from you. Less, not more. And I want to walk you through why that is actually the moment to be paying more attention, not less. If you are new here, I'm Barakatu, short for BK, founder of BData Solutions. We do data and analytics for non-for-profit and public sector programs with a particular focus on organizations in domestic violence, homelessness, and precarious immigration status work, the sectors that usually get overlooked when it comes to data support. I have spent over 15 plus years as a data business credit risk analyst, program manager, and so on and so forth. And I'm currently finishing a PhD in public policy. So grant compliance and reporting frameworks are genuinely part of my day-to-day world, not just a topic I researched for this video. This video is for anyone managing federal grants or contract, or anyone on a board who is going to get asked, so what does this mean for us the next time this comes up at a meeting? Here is what it actually means and what is actually happening. Here is what is actually happening. On May 29, 2026, the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, proposed a sweeping overhaul of what is called the Uniform Guidance. If you have never heard that term, it is basically the rule book that governs how federal grants and financial assistance get managed across almost every kind of recipient: non-for-profits, universities, healthcare organizations, state and local governments, tribal organizations, the entire enchilada. One of the stated goals for this rewrite, straight from OMB's own framing, is to reduce what they call recipient burden. Amazing, huh? And we like reduced burden. Part of that means also agencies are being directed to eliminate reports that are not strictly necessary for monitoring a grant and to adopt what they are describing as measure only what matters approach. Loose, right? The proposal even opens the door to performance report waivers in some cases, meaning an agency could decide a formal outcome report is not required at all. Now, on paper, that sounds like relief. And for a lot of chronically under-resourced grant teams, less paperwork is genuinely welcome. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Reporting burden is real, and it eats time that could go towards actual programming. This has generated a huge amount of engagement, by the way, and as of July 21st, the public comment docket had already received more than 49,000 submissions, which tells you the sector is paying very close attention. A quick bit of context on the timeline, because dates matter here. OMB set a 45-day comment period with submissions due July 13th, 2026, and the proposed effective date lines up with the start of the next federal fiscal year, October 1st, 2026. So this is not some far-off theoretical change. If it is finalized close to what is currently proposed, it could be shaping your reporting requirements within months, not years. OMB has framed the whole rewrite around three stated goals: improving transparency, accountability, and oversight, clarifying the legal status of the guidance itself, and reducing the burden on onward recipients are sitting. Reasonable goals, genuinely, but reduce burden and reduce scrutiny on your actual outcomes are two different things. And even though they are going to feel identical from where you are sitting, here is the part I want you to sit with. When a federal agency stops requiring a particular report, that does not mean the underlying question, are you actually achieving anything, goes away. It just means the agency stopped asking you for it. The question does not disappear, it just becomes optional. And optional is a dangerous word when you are the one deciding whether to keep tracking something or to let it slide. Think about what happens over a few grant cycles at an organization that takes we do not have to report on outcome X anymore as permission to stop measuring outcome X internally too. Fast forward 2 or 3 years, maybe there is a change in the leadership at the funding agency. Maybe there is a renewed push for accountability. Maybe you are up against a competing organization for the same pool of money. Suddenly, everyone wants to see outcomes again. The organization sitting there with 3 years of internal outcome data tracked on their own initiative because they never stopped just because the mandate lightened are going to look dramatically more credible than the ones who can only produce activity counts. We served 400 families an activity count. We tracked housing stability at 6 and 12 months for the families we serve, and here is the trend is an outcome story. Only one of those wins the next round of fun when things get competitive again. Let me make this concrete because build your own internal outcome tracking can sound abstract until you see what it looks like in practice. Say you run a legal aid clinic funded partly through a federal pass-through grant. The mandatory reports used to ask for a breakdown of case types and how hours logged, peer activity data. If that requirement gets waived or trimmed, the temptation is to just stop tracking anything because of what you bill for. Instead, pick 2 or 3 outcome numbers that actually matter to the people you serve and to whoever might fund you next. How many clients avoided eviction after receiving representation? How many resolved their case within a target time frame? How satisfied clients were with the support they got? None of that requires new software. A shared spreadsheet at a consistent 5-minute intake and exit notes gets you there. The point is not sophistication, it is consistency. Having the same 3 numbers tracked the same way for every grant cycle going forward, regardless of what the compliance floor asks for that particular year. So here is the reframe I want to leave you with. A lighter mandatory reporting requirement is not permission to track less. It is an invitation to build your own outcome measurement, the stuff that actually shows your impact as a standing internal practice, independent of whatever the compliance floor happens to be in a given year. Because compliance floors move. They moved this year, they will move again. Your own dashboard does not have to. If you are wondering where to even start with that kind of internal tracking without hiring a data team, I have a video walking through exactly that. So check that one out as well. So everyone, that is a wrap for me. New video every week on practical data and analytics for the organization that usually gets skipped over on this stuff will be dropped. I will see you in the next one.